Today, we've got an incredible story for you. It's all about solving one of the most fundamental problems in education, and it's a fantastic tale of frustration, a spark of creativity, and, believe it or not, a little bit of high-tech magic.
I mean, think about it. It's a huge challenge, right? Especially for science educators. How do you make the invisible world visible? How do you make something that's purely abstract feel tangible?
So, for one particular chemistry teacher at Shui Vocational High School, this wasn't just some philosophical question. No, this was his daily grind, trying to explain the incredibly complex, three-dimensional world of molecules to his students using, well, a flat chalkboard.
And this is where the story gets really interesting. Because faced with this problem, he didn't just give up or make do. He innovated. He found a solution in a piece of technology that would absolutely revolutionize his classroom.
Okay, so to really get why this is such a big deal, we first have to understand the specific hurdles this teacher, Wang Yichun, was facing every single day. He was caught in what was basically a perfect storm. The curriculum was changing, demanding more hands-on learning, but at the same time, his class time was being cut, while the amount of content he had to cover was growing. On top of that, the school didn't have a proper chemistry lab. And those professional molecular model kits, the gold standard for teaching this stuff, they were imported and just way, way too expensive. It was a totally frustrating, seemingly impossible situation. And the contrast between the old way and what he wanted to do was just stark. The old way was flat, 2D drawings, it was expensive, and it was totally passive for the students. Mr. Wang's new idea? It was all about being hands-on, low-cost, and completely interactive. The big question was, how on earth could he make that vision a reality? So, facing all these massive challenges, Mr. Wang basically went on a personal mission. He wasn't going to sit around and wait for a solution to just appear. He decided he was going to build one himself.
And this was his aha moment. He realized that 3D printing wasn't just some cool newfangled gadget. It was the cure. It was the missing link. It meant he could stop worrying about manufacturing and just focus on the teaching idea itself. He could dream up the perfect tool, and the printer would literally bring it into the physical world.
And look at this timeline. It just shows his incredible dedication. This was not a casual hobby. In 2018, at over 50 years old, mind you, he buys his first printer and starts teaching himself how to use it. 2 years later, he's a certified 3D printing engineer. Then, in 2021, he finishes training in CAD, that's computer-aided design, so he can create his own custom models completely from scratch. So what did all that hard work lead to? Well, something amazing. An entirely new course he designed from the ground up for his students. He called it The Encounter of 3D Printing and Chemical Molecules. Just perfect. He broke the whole, seemingly complicated process down into 3 really simple steps. First, you either find or design your 3D blueprint. Second, you use what's called slicing software to get that blueprint ready for the printer. And third, you just hit print. You make the actual physical thing. But here's the part that I find so revealing. When he asked the students what the hardest part was, it wasn't the technical stuff. Not at all. A massive 85% said the most challenging part was the modeling, the actual creative process of designing the object. So this course wasn't just teaching them to push a button. It was teaching them to think like designers and problem solvers. And the results were just astounding. The students weren't just learning chemistry theory from a book anymore. They were actually manufacturing their very own custom-built science kits, turning these abstract concepts into real working tools they could hold in their hands. And pretty soon, it went way beyond just molecular models. Mr. Wang was designing and printing soda rockets to explain gas pressure, microelectrolyzers to teach electrochemistry, even a so-called hydrogen pistol to demonstrate combustion. Every single tool was designed to tackle a specific teaching problem. And you can bet the students absolutely loved it. This quote right here is probably my favorite piece of feedback from the whole story. It just shows that the process wasn't only educational, it was fun. It made chemistry personal and unforgettable. I mean, come on. You're not going to forget the structure of ethanol if you think it looks like a tiny poodle. And hey, the numbers don't lie. The stories are great, but the data backs it all up. When the students were asked if this hands-on course helped them really understand molecular structures, they gave it an incredible 4.9 out of 5 stars. That's almost a perfect score.
But a powerful idea like this rarely stays in one place. This story doesn't just end in Mr. Wong's classroom. His work started this amazing ripple effect that spread throughout the entire school and even further.
To scale his impact, he started a YouTube channel, Lao Wong's Makings. He began creating these video tutorials to share all his designs and his methods, making sure that any teacher, anywhere in the world, could benefit from what he'd learned and start building their own science kits too.
And his expertise? It started getting noticed. Big time. He was asked to coach students from a totally different high school for the 2021 World Youth Maker Invention Fair. And the result of his mentorship? His team won a remarkable 4 medals on the world stage. 1 silver and 3 bronze.
Seeing all this incredible success, his own school's administration went all in. They saw the power of what he'd started, and they invested. They completely transformed the old, outdated labs into a brand new, multifunctional experiment and maker classroom, and bought a whole fleet of 3D printers to support this new way of learning.
Which really brings us to the final big idea here. At the end of the day, this story is about so much more than just one teacher or one technology. It really forces us to ask a much bigger question. What would education look like? What could be possible if every single student had the power to design and create their very own tools for understanding the world?